Podcast 36 is here, fight fans. Take a listen as we sit down and talk with rising welterweight star Mark Reyes Jr. and talk about his climb up the welterweight ladder. You know the vibes.
This ain't one of them times you can slide by what you say that you gonna do. Put your money up, run that fade, time to show and prove. You know the vibes, partner. Ain't got no ways up in my casa, clowning the day, gone in la mañana. I've been on fire lately, train my spirit, mind and body daily. Victory is sweet, that's the science, baby. It's only right we represent from Tampa to Tally. And keep the pressure on these eyes, they call you lacking. Till you flopping on the canvas and bombing and weaving. Unleashing the fury on your face while the audience screaming. Hope they got great seats or the pay-per-view. Let's get the breakdown from J, DJ, and Q. You know the vibes.
What up, boxing world? It's Boxing Vibez TV back in full effect. We got the whole crew with us. We got JD. We got Q.
What's good? What's good?
We got yours truly. And we got a super special guest today. But before we get into that, Q, tell them what to do.
Hey, man, go ahead and send this thing to a million people, man. Send this thing to a million people, man. Let everybody know what we doing, man. Let everybody know the growth, and you know, and that they need to hit the like buttons. Hit the like buttons.
Do that.
Subscribe
Do that.
If they ain't done it already.
Do that.
That's what it is, man. Box Vibez.
We're available on Spotify. Well,
Apple Podcast, Stitcher, all that.
Now, before we introduce our guests, go ahead with the pod quote of the day.
All right, man. For y'all who are new to our podcast, it's customary that we always do a podcast quote of the day. All right. So this pod quote of the day is: everybody has a plan until they get punched into the face. All right. And y'all know that's from Iron Mike Tyson.
Iron Mike.
Right?
Hey, got a fight coming up. Got a fight coming up pretty soon. All right. Without much further ado, we're gonna go ahead and introduce our guests. We got 14-0, Tampa native, 85% knockout percentage. Woo. None other than Mark Reyes Jr. How you doing, man? You walked into the studio and I looked and I said, man, you look pretty clean to be a fighter, especially a fighter who just had a fight Saturday, man. How you feeling?
Feel great.
You look like it was easy work, man.
Yeah, it's too quick. I'm ready to get back in the gym already.
Uh, 12 of your 14 fights were knockouts. What course has you and your team charted to get you closer to a title shot or a prime opponent, and who do you have your eyes set on?
That's a good question. We don't have an exact name that we're looking for. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of these guys, they might move up or they might, you know, kind of fall off with of what happened this year. Things were a lot harder to get fights,
right,
and whatnot. So, you know, we look forward to staying busy. We definitely want to take another fight soon. Hopefully that fight I get to step up, you know, fight another undefeated guy, maybe 16-0, 18-0, you know, something that's gonna, you know, give me a challenge and help me progress in my career.
Okay,
right.
Definitely.
And that brings me to my question. What we've been asking a lot of people about lately is we have a lot of, you know, debates about, you know, amateur records, right? And how we talk a lot about Usyk. I'm sure you heard of Alexander Usyk and Vasily Lomachenko, two fighters that had these massive, outrageous amateur records, right? And they pretty much walked in the game already, you know, at the top. So tell us a little bit about how you feel about that, you know, about amateur records, and do they really matter when you really about your amateur path?
Well, before you answer that, I want to add a little spice to it. These guys were handed a lot of acclaim. Now, granted, Olympic champs, you know, you come in with a little bit of cachet when that, but you're 14 fights in, and some guys get title shots just because they come in with these massive amateur records, and here you are earning it. You know what I'm saying? In the pros, we had Freza Kendo on the show, and he was essentially talking about, you know, he earned his. He was 22-0 and earning his from the mud. You know what I'm saying? But you got a lot of these amateur fighters who come in with these massive records, and then here you go, title shot. So go ahead, and if can comment on that whole thing. I know I put a little wrench in it. We'll go ahead.
Nah, that's all right. So, you know, it goes both sides of the spectrum. You know, you got guys that have this great amateur pedigree, and then they turn professional, and they don't make it. You know, they don't cut it after 5-0, 6-0. They kind of fall off, and you see them get exposed real early. Yeah. That's because they weren't able to adapt from an amateur style into a professional style. Things are different. Guys are sitting on punches. Guys got more time. Guys can set shots up. You know, it's not just pity pat and move. Now, as far as those two, Usyk and Lomachenko, you know, these are guys that not only did they have great amateur backgrounds, do well as far as the Olympics, went two-time gold medalist for Lomachenko, but you know, these guys also fought in the World Series of boxing. You know, you gotta understand that's professional boxing with amateur boxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so you know, you got guys that are fighting professional fighters, they're still amateurs, or you got vice versa. And what that does is it kind of introduces them to the fight game, what it's gonna be like when they step in the ring as a professional. They both had great records in the World Series of boxing. Lomachenko went undefeated, and I think Usyk had one loss within like 12, 15 fights as competing in that. So you know, you gotta, it's very different. You know, I got a friend that's you know, an amateur right now, and I keep telling them, you know, you want these losses, wins, it doesn't matter. You want that experience. That's the most important thing. Get in there and learn between every fight. That's why sometimes it's not great to fight as an amateur back-to-back consecutively, because you want to see growth within each fight. So what I would do is I would take a tournament off, come back stronger, come back better, come back more agile, or you know, whatever we decided to work on within that time that we had off, we worked on it, perfected it, came back and did well. I think I turned open with 8 fights. Okay. And I placed second in a national tournament. You know, not everybody does that. People don't even see nationals until they've got 15, 20 amateur fights. Right. And then they might lose the first night, which has happened to me. I think it was twice. I lost the first night in a national tournament. And these are tournaments, you know, you fight in state. They're advancing tournaments, so you fight state, regional, nationals. So it's hard to get bounced on the first night. You know, you down on yourself. But in the end, you wanna grow from that loss. You want to make sure that you utilize the opportunity that has been given to you by taking a loss. You know, people look at it as a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing. This isn't a professional. That's not the professional game. Still amateur. You got a lot to learn. Now, when it comes over to the professional side of things, a lot of guys, like I said, they just aren't able to make that adjustment into the professional style. So you'll see them and granted, there's something called a chin. And a lot of guys don't get exposed as when they're amateurs. They get exposed as professionals, and that's another reason why you'll see them fall off as well. Because now you got guys that are grown men. They're getting hit by a grown man. They're fighting in a lot less padding in those gloves versus the amateurs, and you know, it just makes a huge difference.
And then there's something to the wear and tear. Most famously, I just quickest to my mind to recall, an Olympian gold medalist that came in with a lot of acclaim and flamed out. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Zhu Ximing. He was an Olympian. He was a gold medalist for China, and you know, he came in, packed the stadium, and he looked terrible. I'm bringing this up because we had Nate Jones, and he was a heavyweight, so of course he had a little different perspective on the extensive amateur career, because you know, 24 is not the same 24, and you see a lot of guys come in with all these fights at a later age. And so the question I'm getting to is about wear and tear, right? Is there, because Nate Jones was like, and it's different for him because he was at heavyweight, right? So he was like, man, 150 is too much. You know, that's about at the limit. So what is your opinion as far as wear and tear? Because everybody's 24 is not 24. We just saw the past couple of weeks, Kell Brook and Bud Crawford are a year apart, and you know, Kell Brook was never that chinny. You know, he took punches from Triple G, of course, and Errol Spence, and it was an orbital bone, not his chin, that cost him. But we saw Saturday a jab got him. So I just kind of loop back into what I was asking. What is your opinion on the wear and tear of a fighter? And I know you said you want to get back, and you know, and to be honest, I was looking up and searching your fights, I think the longest you've been is 6 rounds. So for you, it's a little different because you're fighting shorter rounds and you're getting guys out of there, so you can fight quicker. So,
granted, that is true. I do my due diligence in the ring, and I try to make sure that study my opponent well as best I can. Yeah. And I do so as well in the first round when I'm in there. I'm studying and seeing what I can exploit to try to get him out of there. But people fail to realize a lot of the times that the wear and tear doesn't necessarily come from the fight. The wear and tear comes from the training.
Right.
You got guys exactly the sparring. So you got guys that are sitting in the gym and they're putting in 80 rounds of sparring for a fight. Think about an 8-round, 10-round fight, sparring 80 rounds. Where do you think the wear and tear really started coming from?
Yeah. And the same token, guys, a lot of these guys that go out and fight, you see them that they want to fight 20 fights when a guy that actually could fight. And I was talking to Cortez when I was coming in. You can actually fight 10 fights and do the same damage if you do 20 fights. And I'm talking about in the rankings. Yeah. If you see a lot of fighters, if you go to BoxRec and you open the BoxRec, you see a lot of guys that they fight 0-1, 0-3, 1-3, 1-4 on the first 5 fights before they even start stepping it up. They should have done that in the amateurs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're putting, well, you guys are talking about wear and tear. You're putting that wear and tear in your body in the beginning
already,
and then you're exposed. Then you got a management team, you got a promotional team that's investing in you. This ain't no amateur where you fight for free. You're actually fight. So it falls on the promotion sometimes when you got people that do that. Step up. This kid, I'm not saying because he's across the table from me. Everybody that I've put in front of him and his dad accepts it. Who backs out is the people themselves or the camps. He's gonna tell me. I could bring a guy 15-0 right now and tell Mark we're gonna fight this guy. All right. His dad looks at it. He looks at it. At the end of the day, he's the boss because he's the one that says yes or no, and he takes the fight. And then the guy, something happens, and the guy says, no, we don't want to fight. Or they'll outprice themselves. Right.
And we all know that's
that's a way to get out of it.
That's a way to get out of it.
And you bring me to a good question. So a lot of people in boxing we're always seeing clips of Bob Arum saying something. We're always seeing clips of Eddie Hearn saying something. So with you as a promoter of Pier 6 Promotions.
Yes, sir.
Tell us, peek the people behind the curtain and let them know, what you go through as a promoter. That is much different than them just seeing you in front of a microphone right before the fight's about to happen.
And before you answer that question, man, that was my first time going to one of your fights, and great show.
Thank you.
Great show. But go ahead.
Your question is, what do I go through?
Behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Because we had a big debate about Bob Arum and all the things that go on, and so you're the first promoter we got in contact.
This is Bob Arum and them already have a team.
Right.
They don't go through nothing like what I go through. But I am now learning. It's the same thing like as a fighter. Every show to me is another round. Every sellout show is another knockout.
Right.
Every time I put Mark on or put one of the fighters that promotion companies got guys that are signed, but they're not. As me as a promoter, I don't sign fighters. I don't feel that I need to obligate. If you got a guy that got a good father, a good man, I think that together when you got your word as a man, I think we take it to a top rank, or like himself that he went to DeBella Entertainment now. Okay. He signed with Lou DeBella.
Okay.
So Lou's got him March 14th of last year.
Correct.
Yeah, he signed him, and then of course Cobra came in and everything got locked down. He fought on RJJ
on September 24th
in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
And he fought there, and then he came back and he fought here. Blessed, he has people like me and his father on his team, and he can fight, keep him busy, because he can't just sit around and wait. But, I know that the promotion company's got a team for it. But going back to him, to this show here, actually it was better because I actually was able to get a team behind me. Okay. And I was able to put office, I was able to put a director of operation for the company. Okay. And I was able to play my role as a promoter the right way. So I mean, to answer your question, it takes a team to put it together. It takes people like you guys that do media, that do commentating, that do broadcast, podcasts. People that everybody plays a role.
Right.
And you know, management plays a role. Everybody plays a role, and as long as everybody stays in the lane, everything should be okay. Now, Bob Arum has done his job greatly. I love him for it. He's made a lot of money.
Right.
And I mean, I've been on his payroll too. You know, I mean, he's come to me, and he's come to the people that I work for, and we put shows in Florida for him. So,
okay, all right. So we're gonna shift this back, to the feature of the show. So I earlier I asked, what charted course your team is, and you kind of just say, hey, let me thank you first, because that attitude of you line them up, I'll beat them. Before we're podcasters or anything, we're fans, so I appreciate that attitude, right? But the question I want to ask, all right, 2-3 year plan. When do you see yourself getting a title shot? When do you feel like you're ready? And I ask that because there was an interview with Sean Porter not too long ago, and he stated, he knew he was ready for Mayweather, and he got a little wisdom and realized, he wasn't ready. So for you, as a young, hungry fighter, talented fighter, where do you see yourself like getting your title shot in a couple of years, where you're going to start itching for 2-3 years? Like, where do you see yourself really stepping onto that main stage and like, I'm Mark Reyes, bitch?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say right now, skill wise, I'm definitely ready for anybody in the top 10, anybody in the top 100.
Okay.
Skill wise, I'm ready.
Okay.
Now where I can always, and any fighter can always continue to grow, is gonna be from the experiences that I have sparring and the experiences that I have in fights.
Right.
Those are two things that ultimately they can shape a fighter and mold a fighter very well. And those are the things that I look forward to. Those are the reasons why I want better fights. Those are the reasons why I want to continue to grow and be ready for every fight and every outcome, and make sure that we continue to stay on the path. And and ultimately that's the most important thing.
Okay.
And to that point, see, we debate all day long about Bud Crawford and Errol Spence and the whole PBC side versus, Bud and Top Rank. So for you as a fighter, would you ever let sides of the street stop major fights from happening? Because as fans, we see that all the time.
Yeah.
We see that all the time.
It's called politics of boxing, right?
Politics as usual. Huh?
And that might be too much for a young fighter to even really pay attention to, because you're worried about the next fight getting better. But I mean, you obviously are gonna have thoughts on it. So go ahead and share.
You always see that, and that's something that we've seen, as far as who was it that was with HBO and Showtime, and they made a big fight. It was Mike Tyson and
Lennox Lewis. All right.
Yeah. It probably was.
Yeah. Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis.
Okay.
Mayweather Pacquiao also.
No.
That was
They
another
were
one.
both. They were both HBO, but they were different sides of promotion track. Yeah,
Right.
but that was you.
No. I think at that time when Pacquiao, I think when Pacquiao and
oh, that's right.
and
Mayweather
this guy got
was
it on.
Showtime.
I think Mayweather was still with HBO. So that was the most recent one. But I'm trying to think of another one.
So you got Fury and Wilder.
Yeah,
Fury and Wilder.
Yeah, he's messing with
Wilder.
top rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you have things like that you can finally get two powerhouse promoters or two very, very well-known networks and get everything to mesh together, you end up having these mega fights. And that's what everybody looks forward to. Now the point is, you got to have that build up.
Right.
If you don't have that build up, it's not right. Or if you wait too long, everybody kind of dies off, and we saw that with Mayweather Pacquiao. Everybody was like, this fight should have been 3 years earlier. We would have saw a different outcome potentially.
Yeah.
But that's and that's the way the fight game goes. Now there were also some other things. Pacquiao wasn't willing to do the blood drug testing and some other stuff. So you got that. You got to take that into accountability.
You can't really, but Mayweather never asked for that before Pacquiao. To be fair.
Yeah. So, but and that's to the politics of boxing.
Right.
And we ain't gonna keep you too much longer. But I personally, before we let you go, I want to say I appreciate your attitude. It's fighters like you that keep, and I'm just gonna get on a little bit of soapbox. I tell guys, I'm doing a boxing podcast. I'm going to Vegas to see this fight. And they're like, oh, boxing's dead, and that's bullshit. Boxing ain't never dead. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
It's big it's big across the pond. It's worldwide. And part of what's going to always keep boxing alive is fighters with attitudes like yours. And we appreciate that. Thank you for coming on the show. JD, do you have anything else?
Nah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Q, you got something?
Yeah, real quick, man. Salute to you and appreciate you for coming. You know what I'm saying, the Boxing Vibez TV. But I want to say something about your foundation, man. I saw you got a cancer foundation or Mark Reyes Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Thank you. That was one of the things that I was bringing up. That I should have brought a bobblehead to put on the table.
Okay.
But yeah, that was something that.
Grab one, $20.
Absolutely, we're still taking donations.
Okay, definitely.
I wasn't able. This year, I have not been able to see the kids be able to go there or do anything because of COVID.
Right.
But man, those kids are inspiring. You know, we went and did a workshop 2 or 3 times, and then we finally presented the check. And you know, just to see all the spirit that's there. You know, I don't see that in 50% of the people that I see every day. You know, you see a bunch of people dragging their feet, and here you have kids that either a brother or a sister is going through it, and you know, going through that the chemotherapy or just now in remission, and these kids are incredible. You know, they're inspiring, and you know, anything that I could do to make a difference in their lives, their parents' lives. As a parent, you know, that's something that greatly affected my heart. And we actually reached out. You know, the team got together. We came up with the idea to go ahead and do the bobbleheads, raise money, and go ahead and present them a check.
Definitely got a cop one for the show. Definitely got a cop one.
Yeah, we got to grab
Thank
one,
you.
man. We got to find a way to put a link in the subscription, man, so people can go to it and get a bobblehead to the foundation.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I love the kids too, man. That's what's up.
Hey, hold up. I got one more question, man. Because we're boxing news and lifestyle. So I got to ask you one question, man. So when you're getting ready for the fight, what's in the headphones, man? What music are you listening to? Because you're still a real human, man.
Yeah,
you're still a regular,
come on,
everyday
man.
person.
You
man.
in the gym working?
Right.
You got to have some motivation music.
I'm gonna like kill the mood right now. I actually listen to nothing.
What?
I don't even put headphones
Oh,
on.
this man's a Spartan.
Let's see. How many fights has it been?
All right.
Really?
This man's.
Yeah.
How Jay-Z say? I'm fully
I'm
focused,
focused,
man.
Yeah. No, and you know what? When I'm back there, go ahead.
So fellas, for anybody in the room right now with an opinion on this, man, because it's somebody I feel like Jeezy or Gucci, who won?
Come on, man, get out of here, man. Man, anyway.
Now, you know what? I actually fell asleep. I didn't even get to finish it. Nah, I fell asleep. But
so nothing.
No, nothing. You know, at the end of the day, if you're now, granted, I love all lives, you know, but at the end of the day, if you're a killer, you gotta go in there and do your job.
Do your job.
It don't matter.
This man's a
you know, this man is standing across to you. He's gonna do exactly what you're trying to do to him, and you just gotta make sure you do it first.
Focused, man.
Have you guys ever seen this guy? Actually watch his face when he's in the ring.
I watched the punch he landed last Saturday.
Listen, his face shows no emotions. He's focused, and it makes the guy look like he's looking that way, and he's watching. I mean, from the time he leaves the room to the time he's in the ring until after he finishes.
Yeah, it's go time. As soon as I would say, so back to the locker room thing and all that, listening to music. You know, some people might play some music on a speaker. I'll listen. But the whole time I'm chilling. You know, I'm not working my nerves up. You probably wouldn't even tell that I'm fighting that night. You know, we gotta have that switch. You know,
calm before the storm. Calm before the storm.
You gotta have that switch. You gotta be able to turn it on. And you know, once I go ahead and I get dressed, I come out of my clothes, I get into the suit, and I'm ready. That's it. That switch has been turned on. I'm lasered in. I'm focused. And at the end of the day, that man is in there to do a job. I'm in there to do a job. And, you know, we got to get to it.
My man's been getting it done well with 12 knockouts out of his last 14 fights, his first 14 fights. So, man, we want to thank you for coming on, man.
Definitely.
Not only does he have hands of stones, he have a heart of gold, man, out there taking care of the babies. All right, so, Mark.
Now, what's your next fight coming up?
We don't know yet. You know, we don't have any dates set up or anything like that. We're shooting for, you know, early 2021. We would like to, like I said, we'd like to stay busy.
Okay.
You know, this year I think we got two or three fight offers. we accepted all 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
So the table is full, huh?
they went under. They went with other
opposition. They ain't want that smoke.
Okay.
So
They ain't want that smoke.
hey, it's true what they say. You put yourself into you gotta really put yourself into a position for people to have to face you.
Right,
Because a lot of the times these guys are gonna take the easier road and make sure that they continue to make their legacy, make their career without having that blemish on their record. So me at the end of the day, if it happens, it happens. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna beat that guy. Don't matter.
All right, now can we go ahead and let the future champ go? All right, y'all. Now we can send them off, man. Heart of gold, hands of stone. Mark Reyes Jr. Thank you for coming on, man. Come back anytime, man. Thank you for being here.
Before I get off, I just want to say thank you to you guys for having me on the show. I want to say thank you to Gary for opening this up and having it. It's a beautiful gym here. I also want to go ahead and thank everybody that was involved, including Ivan, Pier 6 Promotions, and Ryan from Odd Sox, DeBella Entertainment as well, my promoter. And this was it's probably the second easiest fight of my career. But in the end, you still work for it, you still train really hard for it. So it's still a blessing, and to be able to come home, be victorious, and move on to the next one. And lastly, I just want to thank all my sponsors, Sean, EHS, Reggie Reed Roofing, Jason's Hauling, Pedro from Sabas. Those are the gloves that I know you guys saw. Everybody loves the gloves. They make quality gloves. Top Bliss and Empire Pro Tape. This is something that I do, and I look forward to seeing you guys, when I come back with my world title.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, most definitely.
Hopefully we get these guys at the next fight in the arena, somewhere in the corner, interviewing all the guys before they go in the ring.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
We ran into what's it? Kenny Porter.
Kenny Porter and
me and him do a lot of business.
Andre Rozier too.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
So y'all gonna let the host wrap this shit up or what? Y'all gonna all right, no, guys. No, we really appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love, man. Hometown kid, man.
Let these people handle their business, man.
All right, fellas. We appreciate the love, man. This is Boxing Vibez TV. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes. We out.
All right.
Peace.
Hanging up already.